The invention of the Colt Revolver and the American frontier. Samuel Colt and the birth of the revolver. Samuel Colt's invention of the revolver in 1836 changed the course of firearms history. The Colt Revolver, with its innovative design, offered pioneers and lawmen a reliable, powerful weapon in the rugged and often lawless American frontier. Before the Colt, firearms were slow to reload, making self-defense difficult in dangerous situations. Colt's revolver allowed multiple shots to be fired in rapid succession, revolutionizing the way people approached gunfights and self-defense. The early Colt models, such as the Colt Patterson, could fire up to 5 shots before needing to reload. This made it popular among the U.S. military and settlers who faced constant threats from bandits and hostile forces. As the West expanded, newer models like the Colt Dragoon and the Colt Peacemaker became legends in their own right. Samuel Colt's revolver didn't just change how guns worked, it changed the lives of the men and women fighting to carve out a place in the American wilderness. Let's dive deeper into how this revolver became a symbol of freedom and justice on the frontier. The design and innovation behind the Colt Revolver. The Colt Revolver's revolutionary design, particularly its revolving cylinder, made it the weapon of choice for those living in the unpredictable and often violent West. The cylinder allowed users to fire several rounds without needing to reload after every shot. This gave gunmen an edge in shootouts, where speed and accuracy were essential. The Colt Peacemaker, arguably the most famous of all Colt models, could fire 6 rounds in quick succession. Lawmen like Wyatt Earp carried Peacemakers as their trusted sidearms, giving them the upper hand in legendary gunfights like the shootout at the O.K. Corral. The design of the Colt wasn't just practical, it embodied the West's fast, rugged, and determined spirit. Let's move on to discuss why this gun was in such high demand. During the Westward Expansion, the demand for guns in the Wild West. During the Westward Expansion, firearms were a necessity. Life on the frontier was filled with danger, whether from bandits, wild animals, or hostile encounters with other settlers or Native American tribes. Having a reliable firearm could mean the difference between life and death, and the Colt Revolver became the weapon of choice. The vast and largely untamed land of the American West had little in the way of organized law enforcement. People were often left to defend themselves, making guns a daily essential. The ability to carry a small, easy-to-use, and fast-shooting revolver, like the Colt, provided the confidence needed to survive in such a harsh environment. The Colt wasn't just for lawmen and outlaws. Farmers, ranchers, traders, and explorers all relied on this revolver to protect their homes, families, and livelihoods. It became a tool for survival and self-reliance, values central to the pioneer spirit. The Colt Revolver as a symbol of freedom and justice. Lawmen, the Colt, and a fight for law and order. For lawmen in the American West, the Colt Revolver was more than just a weapon, it was a badge of authority. In towns where the law was often fragile and outnumbered by outlaws, the Colt served as a critical tool in maintaining order. Sheriffs, marshals, and deputies all relied on the Colt to confront bandits, enforce the law, and protect their towns from chaos. Lawmen like Wyatt Earp became legends thanks in part to their Colt revolvers. Earp's use of the Peacemaker in the gunfight at the O.K. Corral cemented his place in American folklore. As one of the toughest and most respected lawmen of the West, the Colt gave him the ability to act swiftly and decisively when the time came to defend the law. In these lawless towns, a Colt revolver in the hands of a skilled lawman was often the only thing standing between order and anarchy. Outlaws and the Colt Revolver as a tool for survival. On the other side of the law, outlaws also recognized the power of the Colt Revolver. Infamous criminals like Billy the Kid carried Colts, knowing that in the violent, unpredictable world of the West, survival often depended on having the fastest draw. For outlaws, the Colt represented power and control. In a land where life was cheap and conflicts were resolved with bullets, having a reliable revolver meant the difference between living another day or meeting a swift end. The Colt was quick, durable, and easy to conceal, making it the perfect weapon for robbers, gunfighters, and renegades looking to take what they wanted. While the Colt Revolver helped lawmen enforce justice, it also helped outlaws evade it, proving that the line between good and evil was often blurred in the rough and tumble world of the Wild West. The Colt is a symbol of individual rights and freedom. The West was as much about personal freedom as it was about survival, and the Colt Revolver embodied that ethos. On the frontier, the law was scarce, and settlers were left to defend their own lives, property, and rights. In this context, the Colt became not just a tool for survival, but also a symbol of individual freedom. In towns far from established law enforcement, individuals took justice into their own hands. The right to protect oneself was seen as fundamental, and the Colt Revolver was the best means to do that. It represented the idea that anyone, no matter their background or position in life, had the power to stand up for themselves and their rights. The phrase "God created men, but Samuel Colt made them equal" reflects the belief that the Colt leveled the playing field, giving everyone, whether a lawman, a rancher, or an outlaw, the ability to defend themselves in a dangerous world. The cultural impact of the Colt Revolver in the American West, the duel culture and the role of guns. Dueling became a legendary part of the American West, with the Colt Revolver at the center of many showdowns. In a land where disputes were often settled with violence, the Colt became the ultimate weapon of choice. Gunfights in the streets like the iconic shootout at the O.K. Corral were fueled by the quick-draw power of the Colt. These duels often had high stakes, with honor, revenge, or justice on the line. A man's skill with a Colt could make him a hero, or a villain, depending on the outcome. The dueling culture of the West may have been brutal, but it helped cement the Colt Revolver's place in American history and mythology, as the weapon of choice for those willing to risk everything for their beliefs. The Colt Revolver's role in Western films and media. As the Wild West era faded, the Colt Revolver's legend lived on through movies, television, and literature. In classic Western films, the Colt became a symbol of the rugged individualism that defined the American frontier. Actors like John Wayne and Clint Eastwood brought the Colt Revolver to life on screen, portraying fearless cowboys and sheriffs who relied on their trusty sidearms to protect justice. The iconic image of a gunslinger with a Colt at his side became ingrained in popular culture, symbolizing the courage and toughness of the American West. Western films immortalized the Colt Revolver, making it a timeless icon of frontier justice and American exceptionalism. Even today, the Colt remains a popular choice for reenactments, historical shows, and Western-themed entertainment. The legacy of the Colt Revolver in modern culture. Even in modern times, the legacy of the Colt Revolver endures. Collectors and enthusiasts prize vintage Colt models, recognizing them as artifacts of an important era in American history. The design principles pioneered by Samuel Colt continue to influence modern firearms, and the mystique surrounding the revolver lives on in contemporary culture. Whether in movies, video games, or TV shows, the Colt Revolver still symbolizes freedom, justice, and the spirit of the American West. Its influence goes beyond just firearms. It represents the courage and determination of those who sought to build a better life in a challenging and often hostile environment. Conclusion: the Colt Revolver was more than just a weapon. It was a symbol of survival, freedom, and justice in the American West. Its impact can still be felt today in both gun culture and popular media. As we look back on the role this iconic firearm played in shaping history, it's clear that its legacy will continue to live on for generations to come. This translated script ensures cultural relevance for an English-speaking audience while maintaining the engaging and informative tone. Let me know if you need further refinements.